Sevens, welcome to your Wednesday math lesson. In our last lesson, we were talking about types of lines and types of line pairs. With that, we are going to get into angles. So we talked about how if there's an arrow on both sides of a line, this is just called a line. If there's dots on either side, this is called a line segment. If there's a dot and then an arrow, it's called a ray. So we learned about how to label those types of lines. So if, for example, if this one was A and B, I would call this line segment AB. If this had a point on it, I could call it line CD, and then this one would be called ray E. So we were talking about that. Today we're going to get into the types of angles, which should be review for many of you. If not, it's super easy, and I don't imagine any of you are going to have any trouble with it. And then we are also going to get into bisectors and complementary angles, which sound more complicated than they actually are. So, first things first, types of angles. Right off the bat, this angle here is one that we really are going to focus on more so today, is called a right angle. You'll know it's a right angle because you'll notice how these angles right here have a circular thing that goes around the point. This one is square. So a right angle usually has this square looking thing in the corner. Sometimes you'll see it drawn like this or like this, but it will more likely than not have this square. And that's right there, our dead giveaway that it's a right angle. Right angle is always 90 degrees. So this right here equals 90 degrees. So it's called a right angle and it always is 90 degrees. Okay? The other angles we have here, this one is called an acute angle. Acute means it's less than 90 degrees. The way to remember acute is that it's small. It's smaller than 90 degrees, so it's cute. So small means cute, so it's an acute. And that means it is less than 90 degrees. Okay. The last one we have here is called an obtuse. The way to remember obtuse is it sounds a little bit like obese. Obese means big, so obtuse is big. And that means it is greater than 90 degrees. So it is a larger angle than 90 degrees. That means it has to be at least 91 plus. This one has to be 89 minus or less. And those are your three types of angles. The last angle is called a straight angle, which is basically a straight line that has a semicircle on it. That's just to show the angle, and that's just called a straight angle. We're going to get more into straight angles at a later date, but this is just quickly showing you what it is. So it's basically just a straight line with a half circle. So those are your types of angles. Today is mostly going to be concentrating on the right angle. Before we get into too much of the right angle triangle, we're going to talk about bisectors. Bisectors are really easy. It's basically when, right here, we have a line segment. And right in the middle of this line segment, we have a dot. Let's just label this dot M. A bisector is when you have a point in the middle of a line or a pair of lines or a line segment or a ray, but it is right in the middle. So if you have a line that has an arrow at both ends, but you have 2 points here, and then there's a point right here in the middle, this is your bisector, because it's right in the middle of these 2 points. However, if it is a regular type of line and not a line segment, it needs to have a point on either side of it, and it needs to be right in the middle of those 2 points. A line segment is only part of a line, and it has those points at the end anyway, and the bisector is right in the middle. So that's all a bisector is basically the middle of a line or a line segment. So here we have our intersecting lines, and this bisector is right in the middle. So it's in the middle of this line here and in the middle of this line segment right here. So that's your bisector, is right in the middle of those two. You'll also remember this. Remember when we did our coordinate grids that you had to, like, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, and this was like 1, and this was -1. So you had to label it all. And you remember how the very middle was called the origin, 0, 0. In angles, that is also a bisector because it is right smack dab in the middle of this line here and in the middle of this line here. So that's all your bisector is the middle of a line or a line segment or a pair of lines that's something like an intersecting one. So it needs to be just in the middle. That's all it is. The next thing is angle bisectors. Angle bisectors are basically, you have an angle like this one. So this angle right here, I'm just going to highlight in light blue. So this is our acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. The bisector is the line that divides this angle in half. So if I have an angle like this, and this is my angle, let's say this angle is 30 degrees, the bisector goes right in the middle of this angle. It has to be exactly in the middle. All the angle bisector is just dividing that angle in half. So if I give you an angle that is 30 degrees, if I divide this angle, so let's say this angle right here is 30 degrees. So this right here is 30 degrees. An angle bisector just divides that angle in half into two equal sections. All you have to do to find the angle bisector is take your original angle, 30, and divide it by 2. 30 divided by 2 equals 15 degrees. So that means each of these smaller angles right here, so 1 and 2, are 15 degrees each. And in total, it's 30 degrees. So 15 plus 15 equals 30. So that's how I know I have it right in the middle. Okay, so it's basically just dividing that angle in half. The way to know that if you are given an angle that has 1, 2, and then a third line dividing it in half, usually you'll see these lines that go across like here, 1 and 2. That just shows that these angles are equal. So it's basically just a way of showing you that those two angle lengths are equal. So it's not just slightly off, because sometimes you'll look at a sheet and you think, oh, it could be in the middle, but it also could be tricking you and it might be slightly off. If it has those lines there, it's just showing you that they are exactly equal. So they're equal angles. Okay. And before we get to too much details on that, we're going to talk about complementary angles. Complementary angles are pretty simple. This angle right here that has this little box is 90 degrees. So if it has that little box in the corner there, it is a 90-degree angle. If I put a line through here, and this angle from this line to this line is 20 degrees, let's say, I have to find out what this angle is. The way to find out what that angle is, my entire angle here is 90 degrees, right? I know this small angle is 20 degrees. These two angles together must add up to 90. So all you have to do is take 90 minus 20, which gives you 70. So that means this angle here would be 70 degrees, because if I add up 20 and 70 together, it equals 90 degrees. So complementary angles mean 2 or 3 angles added up together, they have to equal 90 degrees. When you are looking for those angles, 1 or 2 of them will be given to you. If there's 3 angles that you're looking for, today we're only going to be looking at 2. So it's going to be a 90-degree angle that's given to you. It's going to be cut somewhere in the middle, not exactly the middle, but somewhere. And it'll give you the angle on one of them. So like I gave you 20 degrees here. We have to find out what this missing angle is. To do so, all you have to do is you have to find the number that adds up to the other one to get to 90. So easiest way is just subtract it. So we're going to do a couple problems together. This is what your homework is going to be based off of, is complementary angles. And there's going to be one thing you're going to do, which is about 6 questions that you just label the types of angles: acute, obtuse, right, or straight. And that's all your homework is going to be today. But I want to concentrate more on complementary angles because that's where more of the math comes in. So we have our right angle here. It has this little box right here. I give you this angle right here, and I say it is 37 degrees. This entire angle right here has to add up to 90. So all you have to do is take 90. You'll always use 90 as your base number because this whole angle is 90 degrees. So 90 minus 37 . 90 minus 37 gives me 53. So this angle right here is 53 degrees. 53 plus 37 equals 90, so I know it's correct, because this whole thing has to be 90 degrees. And that's all it is. You know you're using 90 degrees, and you're just finding what that missing angle is. So it can vary. It can be as little as 1 degree. So if I gave you one, let's do this in a different color. If I gave you one that was like this, and I said this was 1 degree, that means it would be 90 minus 1, which gives you 89. So this entire angle here would be 89 degrees. And that's all it is. So you have to make sure that those 2 different angles add up to 90. Easiest way to do it is work backwards. You do 90 minus the given angle, whatever angle it is that you're given. And that's all complementary angles are, is a 90-degree angle, 2 angles added up together equal 90 degrees. And that's all it is. So your sheet is going to be based off of, you're going to have 2 sheets. One is going to be label what types of angles these are. It's acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Right angle has that little box. Acute is less than 90 degrees, so it's a small little angle. Obtuse is a really big angle that's wider than 90 degrees. And straight angle is a straight line with a half circle around it. I don't believe there's any questions that have a straight angle on them. I just wanted to let you guys know about that one because we're going to be working with straight angles later on. So that's one thing. It's going to have, I think, 6 questions on there where you just label those angles. The other one is complementary angles. So it's going to give you, I believe, 9 questions where you just have to find what that complementary angle is. So it's always going to be an angle that adds up to 90 degrees. It's going to give you one of the angles. You just have to find the missing angle. And that's it. So that's your homework for Wednesday. Let me know if you are needing extra time for whatever reason. I'm more than happy to let you guys know. Make sure that you're also taking care of yourselves right now and doing things for yourselves. I know it sucks that school is going to be closed until the end of May at least, but it is really nice that I get to connect with you guys online. Let me know how you're doing. I want to hear from you guys because I really miss seeing you all, and I miss having you all together in that classroom. And otherwise, thank you all so much for all the hard work you've been putting in and the amazing efforts you've all been doing. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you on Friday.